Enough. 20 years the internet has been turned to shit. 30 before it, our government and society. Everything that made this country good has been ripped and stripped and torn away from us. I ask you, why can you not leave your house with your door unlocked? Why do you accept the notion that you are going to be the victim of a violent crime? Who said you should be? That isn't city life. That's degeneracy. Why should you have to suffer in poverty? Why should you have your speech restricted? Fuck the left. Your speech is more important. Why should you cow down to tyrants who steal your money, take your rights, and make you a slave to their disgusting, perverted worldview and ideology? Enough. These people are barely human. All we share in common with them is biology and nothing else. And I'll say this to you now. As somebody who's worked up over the events, this did affect me quite a bit. You know, when I got sick 4 years ago, I was diagnosed with cancer and autoimmune diseases. As time progressed, it got worse. I've had multiple heart attacks, multiple strokes, rib fractures, back fractures, burst fractures in my spine. Something that had crippled me to the point where it took 13 months to be able to walk again. I'm in palliative care through my network of health providers, which is difficult to get in. You have to get in by committee. They have to review your medical forms and see if you fit because there are a limited amount of slots. But even looking at mine, they said that hospice was on its way and death was around the corner. I am sick. I am horribly sick and in agony every day of my life. But even facing that, as somebody who grew up in a Lutheran household whose grandfather was a Lutheran minister, I still didn't turn to God. It wasn't something, even death didn't make me turn to God. I was apatheistic, somebody who was disinterested, who felt that it didn't apply to me, that whatever my fate was going to be, it was going to be. But Charlie Kirks' death has had more of an effect on me than I can reckon with. Not just me, but my wife. They talk about the concept of martyrdom, about the blood of martyrs and what that inspires in people. Charlie Kirk helped me find God. I want to be a man like him. I want to aspire to that. What's happened in this past week is bigger than I think most people can conceptualize. I think we look at it as another misery and another tragedy, even though we see the reverberations of it around us. But I can tell you from what I have observed, and I am fairly decent at observing things, not infallible, no one is. But from what I have observed, this is impactful in a way that most events aren't. And that this will have a lasting effect. TPUSA, which was the organization that Kirk ran, was a part of, had, I believe, around 900 chapters that were in colleges and 1,200 or so in high schools. I might have reversed the numbers, but roughly 21 to 2,300. At last count, after Kirk's assassination, that number is now at a requested 36,000, an 18 an 18 times uh, growth in 5 to 6 days. People are not tolerating it. They're not putting up with people grave dancing upon this man's corpse, of mocking his wife and his children. Government is not going to sit by. People like Stephen Miller and Kash Patel, RFK, and Trump knew Kirk. Trump talked about how Barron met him and liked him. People in power right now are actually quite personally affected by his assassination. People around this country are quite affected by his assassination, because it's easy to picture yourself as him. Who was Charlie Kirk? He was a family man. He was somebody that loved his children. He was somebody that wanted his country to do well. He worked a job and supported his family and loved his wife. How is that something that needs to be killed? Why would that be a man that needs to be murdered? And who in their right mind would celebrate that? Too many people have looked at this and said, Jesus Christ, that's me. I am that man. And they want me dead. So for this stream today, we're going to talk about what happened and the people involved in it. And while as bad of a tragedy as this is, and as heartbreaking as it may be, at least to me personally it is, that this is a historically hopeful and important moment in America and in American society. You are standing at the threshold of a second renaissance. And it is a fucking bittersweet tragedy that it took the blood of a man like Charlie Kirk to help play a part in that.